Well, welcome back. It's your boy Dick Critical here with another stream. Like, people have been bitching. I'm not gonna lie, and they've been like, you're not as cool as Tectone, and like, I can't. I never said I was. I never said I'd fucked an OF girl. That's probably right. No, wait, that isn't okay, is it? No. It needs to be higher. So I don't. I'm. This is the irony, right? I'm calling out, but I don't have the resources he has. That's not really good enough, is it? How did I do this last time? This is it. So I mean, this is the thing. This is the difference I give you with like any of your other like streamers that you follow. I'm giving it to you like this is how the sausage is made. But like I'm giving it to you raw. It's not like there's a boring weight screen. It's just like then it's like professional. You feel like oh, I can relate to this guy more because he's not like a really rich person. And this is the fallacy, you see. It's like the fallacy of like becoming an influencer is that you always start off being like really like I follow some guy. He's just like this American guy who's like I don't even want to really call him like a failed like band because that's not really fair. I just think he's just kind of like he just did what he did at the wrong time is probably what I'd say. It'd be like if I don't know. I can't say like if I collected Beanie Babies. I suppose that's what came to my head. It's like if it's like if I was still like into Beanie Babies, thinking they were gonna like be like, and that's just like oh that was so big in the 2000s, because he's just kind of got like he has like a grunge band, and it's actually the music's actually really sick. But I just think that the problem is just the demographic. It's just that's it. Like I'm on his side in the sense that I understand he's so talented at like the music, the instruments he plays, and like when he gives his actual like 2 cents on sort of music, I'm gonna give it a lot of like, respect because I know I've seen videos of him doing like gigs, and I know how hard it is, especially like again, it's different when you're like signed up by a massive like what's the word producer, because then they'll just sort everything out. They have teams for that, so like you don't have to worry about all the stage setup and stuff. But when you've actually got to be the person to save money who has to try and like set these gigs up, and it's like you've got to deal with like probably annoying owners of clubs and stuff, and you've probably got to like haggle money, and then it's not even that. It's like you got to get like the band together because like, everyone's an adult, got their own lives and stuff. And then you probably want to like rehearse as well in that venue because the acoustics are going to be like really different. So it's like you can't just like generalize, just assume that everything's going to sound good. Otherwise, it might sound like really pitchy or like really echoey. So you could probably want to like see if you can try and like maybe do a demo. But I actually don't even think you were even entitled to one of those, to be fair, because I don't think a lot of places will. Maybe after hours, but like, how inconvenient is that for you? You have to wait until the pub closes like at 1 a.m. Then you have to go in there to like demo it. So as a result, you'll be learning all that through trial and error. Because you do it, and then you probably like the first time it won't sound great, and you'll learn. You'll be like, okay, next time we're in like a small little closed venue, we can have to like turn the bass right down, and we have to turn the drums up loads, because that's the sort of nuance you have. And then playing the instruments, and I think that's actually something that's kind of like and I'll talk from the lens of an artist. That's probably more why I appreciate it. It's more like I am just more into creativity, and I think for me it's like I see modern music as kind of being like the AI, if you were, of like well, like, that's why it's like weird for me to say 'cause AI is making music, but it's like in terms of like AI is to computers, I think like modern music is to music, which is like no one really knows how to learns to play instruments anymore. And that's all just kind of going to be a lost art now. as sad as that is to probably say, I just think like it's going to get to that stage where I feel like playing the instruments is almost like the equivalent of knowing how to use a Morse telegraph. And I know that's really sick for me to say, but it's like, okay, all right, I'm gonna try and like give you. I'll have to like boil it down to you. It's like you're like a kid in like I don't know, New York, and you haven't got any money, and you want to make some music. There's no way in hell like you're gonna be able to like afford a saxophone. And even if you do get a saxophone, there's like you have to learn how to actually like make the notes and like be able to do a chord. Like that's not even easy. Like a piano is probably the easiest instrument to do that. I know that sounds like people might complain to me with that, but I'll say xylophone. But piano I think is even easier because it's like you're not even like really having to hit anything. You just push your thumb on finger down. But even a guitar, it's not just like obvious like what each string does, and then from that, what's happening when you're putting your thumb, your fingers over the. I'm not gonna. I don't want to use stupid terminology. The top part of the guitar. Um, and I know with the woodwind instruments, like, oh, like I had a friend who played saxophone, and he was just saying, like, yeah, like the first thing you learn is just how to fucking blow through a reed because you have to like twist your tongue in a certain direction to make it work. So it's like you already have like an entry to use, if that makes sense. So you can't just pick up a saxophone like you see like in like Family Guy or something, where someone just picks up a saxophone or Rick Sanchez, on yeah, unless he's learned how to do it. But he's the smartest man in the universe, so probably he just knows how to do it. Like if you have a fucking bassoon or something, like you need like a actual reed, and like each one of those is probably going to be like specified for your mouth. It's ridiculous. And just like yeah, so if you're like a kid in like New York, and you want to add some saxophone, you're not gonna like, do that. It's not like the '80s where you'd have to go and try and like get someone to play the saxophone and do that for you. You can just go on a computer and do it. And yeah, it sounds a little bit fake, but you can probably get away with it now. Just again, you've got ways of just like, and there'll just be samples out there anyway. So there's just so much like samples. So you could probably get like a really high definition of someone doing each of like like the scales, and you can just cut it. I don't know. I don't know. But I mean, yeah, I just would think if AI is doing everything, it'll be able to code everything. So I don't think people need to learn to play the instrument, and that's almost like half the battle for some of the instruments. It's just like it's not very difficult to play. Like I'm trying to explain to you. So like on piano, the entertainer, for example, like, it's written for piano. But if you just wanted to like turn that into guitar, it's just like well, you could do that with a keyboard. Actually, you could just twist that knob until it goes to like guitar, and it'll just go. And it's like that's the thing. It's like that isn't as hard as actually having to do that on your like if you saw someone playing like the entertainer on the guitar in like the 80s, that'd be like quite impressive. But like now, if you hear it, it's not that impressive because you just know someone's just fed it through like a machine. Do you see what I mean? It's like it's weird. It's just kind of like, and that's kind of like what I think his problem is. It's just like he's trying to like he's still trying to be like a grunge kind of like rock, and he's got a real love and a real kind of like love letter to kind of just like that old school like and I appreciate that because I know that's just going to be a bastion. He's probably one of the last bastions of people who really will appreciate that sort of stuff because no way in hell my kids are going to feel stuff like that. Like what? How I mean, they're like coming up to like 5 and like 6. So it's like by the time they like, God knows what like music's going to be like. By the time they kind of get into like the puberty, it's probably just going to be like, I'm not allowed to comment. I'm not allowed to comment. We're under the Chinese dictatorship. They finally just had enough, and they said, "Look, guys, we had enough. Yes, we're just gonna take over." Somehow Germany starts World War Three. It's like this time we're fed up. We're like, all right, Germany, fuck yes. Fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, shame on me. Fool me twice, shame on me. Okay then. Like there, like yeah, there's no countries really kind of. I don't know really. China seems to have like kept. I think like there's. Hmm. It just feels like everyone's kind of kept their eyes off China for a bit, haven't they? And maybe this is kind of like what they did because I feel like a lot. I gotta really be careful with saying fuck it. Like I think a lot of people kind of forgot that the whole reason COVID started was because of China. And I just think like because we've got this whole immigration problem, it just seems to kind of shifted the anger towards that. I think people are just starting to forget. But like, I don't know. Why do we just sort of universally like accept that like that's something they did? And there's no like, do you see what I mean? There was no like who's gonna like hold China accountable? No one. Well, I suppose if the whole world ganged up on them, they might do. Even China, I think, if the whole world was like, I'm talking like every country, like we got the whole of like NATO, we got the whole of like the USA, Russia, India, like all of Europe. Well, that's probably NATO, that'd be stupid, but like, do you know what I mean? Everyone's like, say like literally has got the nukes, and they just say like, and they'll never get to that part because of this, but it's like literally like West, what do you call it? Like that's it. You gotta like basically boil everything down to like the most easiest way to form it. So in a sense, what you're trying to say is like, um, it's like one of those like yeah, Wild West standoffs where it's like you've got like they know like the reality is it's like when two people have held guns up to each other, which are nukes. Already now we know that probably someone is definitely dead. Like me or you is definitely dead. So the game's now shifted focus. So now it's just a case of like trying to like limit that percentage you will die. So, for example, then once if you've got like seven other guys with you, which is what you do, you have like that's like the armed gang, bandits. You've got like now 14 guns like against two. So you think, okay, well he might shoot me, but like with one of my command, like because we're all psyching each other out at the moment, because we might let him run away if he just like drops his guns and fucks off. So there's lots of like different things, and that's like what you got to think about China as well. So we could all just like be like holding our nukes up to China and just be like, "Look, China, I know you've got enough nukes to just fucking like do a lot of damage, but we don't care. Like you caused COVID, like you got to do something. We know you're a fuck off country and you just don't do anything. You never like do it, but we are holding you accountable now." They might take that. They seem like the kind of like country which would probably like their. I think their leader would probably really respect that because I think China do like really like uh they love like power. Because when I was on board the ship, what does that even mean? Sorry, when I was in the merchant navy, I worked aboard a Taiwanese container ship company. So a lot of the captains were like Chinese. Um, it was Evergreen, the ship company that caused the crash in the sewers. I wasn't with them at that point, but I'm not tell. I tell you not. Completely don't. don't I 100% know. Sorry, 100% wasn't surprised when I found out it was them that caused it. Because Maersk. So to give you, I guess it's going to bore people, but whatever. Like, so you've got like a couple of like massive players in like the maritime shipping, like logistics, and most of like world trade is done with like ships. It's just this. Have you seen the size of ships? Ships can carry so many containers. It takes like what a fleet of like about 10,000 trucks to like unload a ship. So you don't even want to start. Um, but the big players is kind of like Maersk, and they've got the big. I think they do have the biggest ships in the fleets. They've got some fuck off huge ones because they've just been in the game for so long, and they're like the real gold standards. And they're like Scandinavian company. I don't want to sound arrogant. It's so ignorant. It's the wrong country, but it is like I think it's Danish. I think it's the company that does Lego. The country that does Lego and IKEA. I think it's Danish. Danish have just got some fuck off insane like companies. It's like such a small little country, but they've just got some really successful companies, and they're just like blown everything out of like proportion, out of like because they're just so efficient, and that's what Maersk ships, for example. Like the one thing I didn't like about it was they're dry, which means you can't drink on them. So probably a lot of Muslims like working on there, but they saw it as like a way just to minimize. So I'd probably get the white card, but I'd be like, they'd say, "You do realize you can't drink though, right?" And I'd be like, "What about weed?" And I'd be like, "I'm sorry, that's illegal." And I'd be like, "What about if it's medicated?" I'd be like, "I'm sorry." And then I'd just say no. And I'd be like, "What the hell is that? What do you mean medicated? Is that what is that?" So everyone on there is just wired like a tin can, a tin like a yeah, a tin soldier. I mean, I'm not gonna doubt they're really efficient, and I think as a result, actually, they realised that again because they're really smart. Actually, if okay, so this is crazy. In reality, the most efficient structures are usually the least amount of people. Why? It's communication. So you just have like three officers on board the ship, which they do. Um, and what I mean by that is normally when you go on board the ships, sorry, I might be lying. There'll be a helmsman, not helmsman. There'll be like a lookout. So I think you have to have a lookout. Ah, it's difficult. I can't remember the rules. It was something like if you're in like international waters, I think it's like you don't need a lookout. But I think they would just have a lookout who's just there 24/7 just in case. And I'll explain. So I think they can get away with having like four officers. No, five officers. So you'd have the captain, the chief mate, the second, and the third mate. Cruise ships have fourth mates, but it's not relevant with logistic ships. And then you just need a lookout in case you go into like sort of choppy waters, shit and stuff like that. So they just have like five officers, and then well, they're not even the lookout isn't really an officer, it's just like an AB, an able-bodied seaman, who's just knows like like basic maritime stuff. But they just take orders basically, and they can act as a helmsman, which is the big thing because some ships that's the thing you have like a helmsman, and then you've got like doubles of each officer, and then you've got like loads of different lookouts and stuff. But like Maersk just really aggressively just like sort of tore apart the like so most ships I think you've got like an officer of like 10 crew, and then you've got like the engineers would be probably like 10 as well. Yeah, so you've got 20 guys living on a ship. But I think with Maersk it's like it is literally halved. It's like they've just got five engineers and five officers, and they get away with it. And the way they've made their ships as well is just like more advantageous because they've got like and they've got two superstructures. So the superstructures are like the bits which are like I guess where like if you look at the cruise ship, sorry, a container ship. If I said to you like where do you think like the captain is on the ship when he's moving it, you point at like the bridge. So the superstructure is just the bit underneath the bridge, and that's where everyone lives. So effectively, yeah, everyone just lives on like one big vertical line. Um, but it works because yeah, we've got all the elevators, and the elevators can go straight from the bridge. I'm not even kidding. The elevator can go straight from the bridge all the way up, so it's like 20 meters high, all the way down to like the bottom of the engine room, which is crazy. So I used to remember like sometimes I go into like the little, because they're like little Chinese elevators. So like you could probably get like three people in there before it gets like really cozy. And it was just like yeah, it could go all the way down, and you could still like see like because it wasn't like perfect. You could still see like the lights from when you're going like under the floor. It was just like going like that, and you just have to keep thinking in my brain as I was doing it. It's like, oh god, I'm on a fucking ship in the middle of like a Pacific Ocean, and it's like my ship is like rocking like this, and I'm on an elevator, and it's just like going down. And I'm like, this is mental. And you just get to the engine room, and like you can see like people scrabbling around in the engine, like, Asian people scrabbling around the engine room because an alarm's gone off, and I'm like, what's happened? And he's just like, oh, it's okay. It's just like, and usually it is just something okay, but everyone's just like really, because that's the thing. It's like it's because it's like that's the best. I'll tell you, the best insurance you'll ever have when it comes to working is like the first one is what I say, the no risk but good salary. That will get people invested. The second one is the medium pay, but the medium pay, but like medium responsibility in the sense that they usually get like stock in the company, sorry, shares in the company. So it's in their sort of best interest to go above and beyond because like anything extra they bring into the business is just going to come out of their shares. Um, and that's usually what a lot of these really smart companies do. They'll just hire a couple of like hot shots and that's like give them just like you don't actually want to get paid too much in the UK. It's different in the US because they just blow you out massive salaries. But the difference with that is you got to pay for healthcare, and healthcare can cost as much as 2 grand a month. I'm not even joking. So if I added that into my salary, I'd probably be on like yeah, like I don't want to say, but like it'd be a lot. It'd be a lot. That's what I'm gonna say. Um, yeah, but then they give you like shares, and the whole point then is like it's like that's the incentive they give to you. Is like, well, you're not getting paid as much, but you know it's all about like the growth of this company, and you're going to be in part of it. And then like the biggest biggest risk is like it's not even just like money; it's your life's on the line. So you fuck up your if you fuck up your job, it's like being a pilot. So you fuck your job up, you're gonna die. I don't know why that's so funny. So, but then it's different because for a pilot, you get loads of money. Well, actually, no, I'm not gonna no bullshit. Sorry, officers get paid loads. It's just the crew. Yeah, sorry, no, no. It's because like and this is interesting, and there's no qualm with it whatsoever because I just appreciate it's the way it was. But the reason like Evergreen don't, why is it funny? I don't know. Why Evergreen don't hire British people is just simply because the money they'd offer you, we just turn it down. It's not even a question of they wouldn't. They just know that we would turn it down. I'm not even joking. I think for a third mate, um, it was something like 23 grand. This is just rubbish. And I only say that because being a mariner is extremely needed. So, like, before people are going to like pull their hair out, be like, what? To be on a so yeah, first you've got grueling conditions. You're going to be on a fucking ship, going with some of the worst conditions ever. You're not going on the lovely cruise lines where it's like the captain's like, oh no, there's a hurricane there. If you, well, I'm not going to go that far, but there's just a few situations where like we get a weather warning come in through like the oh what was it called? Oh, it's like got a name that's like a word for something. I don't know something. Famicom. No, no, that's the Nintendo thing. Facsimile. Hey, we had like a facsimile printer that would like print off weather reports. And they're just like beamed out from like a really low, um, like a really low like radio wave, a long distance radio wave. So just anything can pick up. So you just need like a device on your ship that's just like able to basically pick up pager information. Do you see what I mean? So a boy will probably send that off, and that boy's probably getting it like relayed from another boy to like a until it finally gets to a country, and the country's just being is a network of around the world. And if there's like any hydrometeorological storms like hurricanes, it'll just like just beam it out to any like ships that are nearby, and you pick it up. But like there were a few times on the ship where like the captain would get something, it'd be like a supercell was forming, like not too far, like 100 nautical miles away from us. Um, and he'd go for it because, to be fair, it doesn't really matter too much when you're on like those ships. And what I mean by that is like, so you have something called like the block coefficient, and what that does is it basically just so if you think about like the hull of the ship, it's basically like how much of that hull is like a square. So if you're on a big tanker, the block coefficient is really high because a load, like if you look at the under of the ship, it basically is just like it's just basically like a rectangle, but instead of having like really smooth like, the edges, it has like rounded edges because that's what contain oil tankers look like. They're just like fucking massive like things. And they take hours to. Like, I'm not even kidding. They take, if you were going like full ahead and you needed to stop, unless you have tugboats or you do some actual wanky anchor maneuvering, like just drop both your anchors and fucking breathe, slow it down, and then go full astern. It'll take you a while, and the turning radius as well. So like with a container ship though, it's like the block coefficient's a lot smaller. It looks a lot more just like a really thin rectangle on comparison to like the full amount, a bit more like an arrow. So when you're going into like storms, it can kind of take it a little bit more. And what I mean by that is that you have like when you do like stability, you have like things called angle of LOL. I'm not even joking. It's like angle of LLOL, but it was funny. And then you have like other calculations, which is basically like the maximum angle the vessel can list in like a storm before it's called like the point of no return, where it's just like the gravity. So like you have like the center of gravity of your vessels normally like underneath the ship because all your weight is like well yeah it is like even if you have a tanker most of it's going to be underneath the water. And then you've got like the highest point of gravity would be up here. And it's like there's fuck off. That's the thing. Like my friends, like it's like when you watched IT Crowd. I'll tell you what it was like. Like everyone like pissed on like there was like everyone else were professors, and there's like that one guy who got like a really high. He was like he wasn't a professor, but he was just like an engineer basically, and that's kind of what I felt like I was like with my friends. Like they didn't really give me the same kudos for doing what I did. And I think from just having the balls to even go out to sea for like I think I was out for 5 months. I'll tell you that it changes. It would change anyone. And I would wager a bet to any of these like big streamers or anyone to try and do that. Just go on a ship and you're not allowed internet. And I'm not even going to be allowed to say like today because they probably have internet today because I think a lot of ships will just have access to like I mean, when I was out in 2012, that just didn't exist. We didn't have SpaceX and shit, so you didn't have the ability to do that. You could probably get a satellite phone, but it would cost you probably like 10 grand a month. I'm not joking. I think some of like the top captains did that back in like 2012. But that was like a mega flex, and the captains would easily be clearing like 200k, like £200,000 a year, plus bonuses, plus probably that satellite phone just get paid for them, and no tax. That was the biggest. That was the biggest grift. And you're like, what do you mean no tax? If you work out of the country for more than 6 months, you don't have to pay any tax. So that's what you do, and that's the other massive benefit. You only work 6 months, but that sounds crazy. Yeah, you have to work the weekend as well. So there's a rule when you're in the merchant navy: every day's Monday. But you work those 6 months, and you don't do it in one. You do 3 months. You usually have 3 months off. 3 months, 3 months off. And then the idea being is you just make so much money that you're just like renting places. If you're smart, what you do is you'd work. So you'd probably rent somewhere, and then you'd work, save up loads of money. So you just get like a shithole like place, like you'd rent the cheapest shithole ever, like just because you just know that you're only going to be there like very sparingly for the first part. I mean, to be fair, you could just live with your parents. Most people just live with their parents. But whatever. Go to work for the first like 3 months, earn like some third officers, I think, on cruise ships could be easily earning like 45 grand. It's a lot of money. So in those 3 months, you would make probably like £9,000. Come back, stay at home, so you don't really spend any money. Go back to sea, earn another 9 grand, and I think at that point you probably could put a. Oh no. You probably need to do that. Just keep doing that for a year, and then whilst you're work for a year, I think that's about it. You can then get a promotion to second mate. which I think does require. No, no, it doesn't. It's only chief mate. So you could get promoted to second mate, and I think the rule was generally it was like the third mate. He's in charge of like all operations on board the ship. So what that means is like it is like literally like the grunt, but obviously he's the third. But anyway, and it is really important to be fair. But basically, he has to like go around and check everything, and that is really important to be fair. It's like you have to go around. You've got to like do all the checks, all the fire extinguishers, all of the safety alarms, all of the flares, all the flags. Got to make sure like things haven't like rotted. All the charts have to be maintained. Books. Do you see what I mean? So it makes sense from a practicality perspective of like why that's needed because that kind of teaches you as like a third mate to like get your wheels and really you start to learn that ship is like you know that ship inside out because you've done it all. When someone says to you, "Where's the dock kill?" You're going to be like immediately you're going to know like which floor that's on because you're going to remember you had to like do that for a year, being a third mate like every month you have to do like you do every month you got to go around you got to make sure everything's like up to standards, and that's good. You don't want accidents happening, and that's why like luckily there aren't that too many accidents at sea. It does happen, but they put standards in place called the SOLAS, Safety of Life at Sea, which means that ships have to have a minimum. Otherwise, on no events, you'd probably get like Pakistani, Indian, Iranian ships, which is just I just made of wood. I just taped a radar to it. SOLAS said if you want to trade legally internationally, you have to go abide by the minimum standard in this book. Your ships have to look, be like this. So your job as the third mate is to basically ensure that the ship is ship shape. So if there's going to be any problems in terms of like they do an audit and one of the fire extinguishers is like out of date, your head's on the block because you're the guy who's doing it. They're like, why third mate? Why have you not checked this? You've been on the ship for like 2 months. You should have known this. Like they might let us off if you noticed it at sea. But even then, they would say that why didn't you know this beforehand? So, second mate, his job is the navigation. So his job is to essentially, he has to make sure like the charts and stuff are all, and the ECDIS, which is the electronic display, and all the actual physical. You have to have physical maps. I don't know if you do anymore. You probably don't actually. I'm talking like I'm a on the lost time. You probably don't have paper charts. They just realise they're too awkward and cumbersome, and like putting the updates on the charts is like. So I had to learn how to fucking like do the shitty like use those fucking parallel rulers. They can kiss my big balls. I hated that. So you had to get like these like maritime notes. No, mariners notes. Notes to mariners. And they had different editions, and some of them were updates to charts, and some of them would be as pedantic as just like I don't know, you've had a like project going on where they're dredging something, and it just happens to be in like your remit of like where you're going. Legally, you have to keep changing like all the fucking buoys and stuff. Sometimes it's just bullshit. Be like, oh, we've just put up a whole fleet of like wind farms. There's all these buoys that have just come up, and you're like, oh fuck, you gotta like update the chart. And like you look at the next port you're going to, like Amsterdam, so you just know they're gonna be like fucking hot. It's true, you'll go there and they'll be like, oh, we have selected your ship for audit. I hope you have done the boys on all very good. I don't know what I thought about. I remember like the most intimidating guards. It was the LA ones, because like I was terrified because I had an orange. Am I gonna go to prison? I can't. What did I do with it? I don't want to say anything. I'm too scared. I'm gonna get arrested. I had an orange in my cabin, and like they were like gaslighting me for ages that if like basically they had you had any flesh fruit in your like cabin, they would fuck you because it was considered like bringing in an alien species. And it's not true if it's just like in your bin and there's like no proof that you're going to take it out. So for example, if like within good conscience, like let's say the worst case scenario would be, but they did it. That's the pranks they would play on you. That's like the pranks that, yeah, like like the Filipinos would play on you, and it's like what we call it, the initiation test. Um, so for me, I fell for it, and they were like, yeah, if you've got any like, and I was trying to like put the pills in like the bins and stuff. I couldn't, and the reason why is because actually what happens is it's like it's on a larger scale. So if it's just in someone's cabin and like yeah, you've got some rinds in like your bin, and there's just like it's hard to explain. Yeah, because I guess you could make the argument that like, what's to stop you from throwing overboard? I guess, but I think that's more of a case of if they discover you do that, because they'll just expect that you're not going to do that. Do you know what I mean? Because the risk there is if someone who works in the dock sees it and then reports it, your ship might get fined like 100 grand. So I think if it's just in your trash can, oh, I just hate your show, and they can see like you're just not you like you've gone to land for the day, or you're on board the ship. The guard will just say, "Why have you got rind in there?" And you just say, "Oh, I'm really sorry. But I assure you, I have no intention of like." And they might even just quarantine it like there and there, and not fine you. But they basically said it like if they find like rind in you, like they'll fine you. Or maybe they just tried to explain it, and that's just the bad pigeon English that they had. It just came out like that. So I was like, I think I just whined. I hid it somewhere on the ship. But again, I think no was it no fair no foul was. Because technically, like I didn't break the law, did I? Because I'm pretty sure the Ryan did just stay on there. And again, you could argue, yeah, maybe a bird could, but it didn't, all right? Because yeah, then you could have everything. Then you just can't do anything, can you? It's just like you can't, you can't do anything. Anyway, look, I remember there's one time we went on board. I was on board. We went to like Malaysia somewhere. There was some massive Malaysian moth that basically was the equivalent of like of cricket in the US. It was just something that it was just people were just so used to seeing it, or like even like or fly. But they're huge. They're just like these moths that probably got like wingspans about the size of like my hands. So when you have never seen them before, they are quite like disturbing, just by the sheer size of them. But the thing is they're just very harmless and it's very stupid. They're just like they just stick themselves to the walls, and it's just like they don't do anything. And like if they fly, they usually just like fly like very like stupidly into like light, and then they don't really like ever interact with humans. But we like just got like a huge infestation of them. I don't know. We were watching like, a movie and like because we did have a big TV. It probably actually is about the size of my TV now, but back then it was like that is big. I was like, oh, I'm gonna have a cigarette. So you have to like spin the wheel. You literally have to go out like one of these weather tight doors, like in Metal Gear Solid 2. And then you're actually like outside, and you can suddenly see like, so suddenly like your eyes, because you're inside, but suddenly when you go outside, like your brain kind of like starts to realize that yeah, you've been rocking. Because once you start going on the ship for long enough, you get your sea legs, and you don't notice like the swaying, because your body's like very good at acclimatizing to stuff. So if you're just like used to keep doing like this, your body just eventually just starts to like realize like when you're at sea, there's no point of it just like getting like. So you just become like that's when you can see those videos where people are just like walking around going like this and doing like the Michael Jackson dance. It's just because like they're like body's kind of like acclimatized to the fact that the ship is just going to constantly just keep doing it like that in the same kind of like speed, like a metronome. And I just lit up a cigarette. And turn the light on. And there's just loads and loads of those moths. Loads of them. Just stuck to the bulkheads. Like the metal walls. I was just like, Jesus. I was a bit drunk. It's like the only things they had to drink were Johnny Walkers or a sorry beer. And I'll tell you, I've never, ever, ever drank an Asahi beer. That's all I'll say. You can call me racist. No, I don't give a fuck. If you think of a Chinese person had the balls to say like they make like dope hamburgers, I'm gonna give a fuck. I'm gonna take it over the Americans making a dope hamburger over the Chinese. It's the same equivalent of that. Like, they just do not make good beer. Again, like the Germans and Scandinavians, Spanish, hell, even the Spanish. I mean, we make good ales. Like the UK's, I think, definitely on top on the ales. But a lot of the world doesn't like ales, which is fine. But I always think like the most like nuanced, niche hobbies are the best ones. But the problem is you have the smallest demographic. You get like no one. You get like 0.01%. Like for example, me with my models and me drawing, like a lot of guys are just like, "Fuck this dude. He's like a little gay boy. He's gonna sit there playing with little toys. I want to high show speed, like be sick on camera." And we all do. But I'm not. I'm not gonna do it. But you hire him to do it because he's an idiot and he'll do it. Give him enough cash, he'll do it. Whereas people like me, we're like, well, I've got to be careful with my terms, but like we're less persuaded by things because we don't really see value in money as much. And that's normally what happens if you grow up in like a more middle class family. You're just kind of like you realize like. But I think people who come from like poorer backgrounds, generally black people, I'm just trying to be telling you the truth. They aspire more to become like even middle class to them. It's like really amazing. Whereas if you are like a white middle class person and like for example, you know like your parents have got like a house worth $1 million, so you're just gonna get it. But you've got to convince yourself that like, okay, I can just, all right, fine, I'll work in a shitty job. But you don't need to push yourself. Do you see what I mean? So you know you can just probably relax on like the average salary because you just know like your parents are probably going to give you like help and stuff because they're rich. But if you're black, you don't get that. And I'm not trying to be racist. I just know like that's just it's what generational wealth is. And black people don't really have generational wealth because, well, yeah, I think everyone knows why. So yeah, it's just like I'm not going to pretend I don't. My family does have like a family home, but I've got two brothers, so I'm going to have to share that between. So it's not like that house is going to stay in the lineage unless I'm able to buy them both off and want the house. But that's probably the reality. But I have no qualms with that. But I just know that there's a lot of people who don't even get that. So I'm never gonna, I suppose, deter people from working really hard. But I'm just telling you, this is kind of generally why you get like you know, that's more of like the story I think that aspires to the people who are poor is like that, rags to riches story. But if I think someone like me, I don't really desire money. Like, I understand, like, there's stuff out in the world that's like very decadent, but I just don't think I'd want it or care. Like, I don't really want to eat like gold leaf steak. I know that sounds really like ignorant, arrogant, but I don't care for it. Like, I don't really care about. Yeah, maybe it'd be nice to drive in someone's. No, I don't even want to drive it. I would just like to have a ride in someone's Bugatti, and they take me around a race course. That'll be sick. But if it's just me going in a Bugatti and we're driving around town, no, because it's like just gonna get loads of attention, which I don't like, and you're not even gonna use it. You might go on the motorway and like open her up to like I don't know 70 or 80. I don't know what is the speed limit. Or whatever, 10 over the speed limit, 70, I think. But we all know we want it to we want to go over 100. So yeah, if you're in the autobahn in Germany, maybe, but like, I've gone around the world a lot. I think that's the problem is that you see like a lot of people. What they've done is they just fetishize money too much, and it's broken the economy because money should never be there. And what I mean by that is just like we just shouldn't have a metric that's rewarded in that essence. It should be like a credits basis, or how like things should just always be free for you. But the only problem is the only way it can work is if everyone wants to play the same, but no one does because there are just people who just think they're better than one another. And what I mean by that is just if we're talking by like the definition of money equals power, then one could make the argument that people who are paid more money are more important in society than others, and that isn't necessarily like a thought that most people have. Or sorry, a lot. I'd probably go saying few people have, but a lot of people do agree with that. They just think, okay, yeah, if you're a judge and you're on whatever, automatically you just probably 100 people who can't work. You're probably worth like that. See what I mean? There's like people will probably start to make those like really dark decisions if they have to. But then it's not true because obviously just I don't know, you can get actors and footballers or just sports players and they get paid insurmountable amounts of money just because people put most of their money in entertainment, because entertainment is in a way just basically like tipping. What do I mean by that? It's like, well, you're basically just 100% buying the product, tipping up something that you want. Whereas, I don't know, if you're paying energy, you're just paying the cheapest energy. But if you're buying a game, you're paying for that game, and you're giving it like 100%. It's hard for me to explain. It's just like, do you know what I mean? It's like, it's not like there's like an entertainment sphere, and you're just like paying $10.99, and then it's just like you can access all creative stuff ever, and you're finding like a cheapest like creative provider for you to like say every year. You're trying, it doesn't work like that. It's like if you like a particular game or if you like a particular like movie or IP, you put money in it and you're paying loads of money for it. But do you see what I mean? That's like your residual income, because the society is basically deemed to you that you don't entertainment, you have to pay extra. So if you want to get entertained, you have to pay extra. If you want to play this game, if you want to have a PlayStation, you want to buy these models I built today, go pay extra, man. But if you want to live in your house, and you want to live and eat your food and whatever. You pay like you're trying to find the cheapest, aren't you? But like when you're paying for like Taylor Swift CDs and stuff, you gotta pay. I know you'll look for like the cheapest Taylor Swift album if you're buying a tangible. I'm talking more like just you are just having to pay like $19 because that's it. That's just the fee you gotta pay because you want the album. And it's the same with sports. It's like if you want to go watch a football match, you gotta pay like I know you're going to make a stupid. I think it's in the hundreds, £200, 200 quid. If it's not even like a big team, I think if you're watching an Arsenal, Man U, I think you easily go more than that. Um, See what I mean? So it's like you're paying like so much premium for entertainment, and that's why like they just make their like the celebrities like really famous because that's the that's almost like I suppose you could call it like the grip, isn't it? It's like if we could just pay them normal salaries and just like not charge as much, but we'd love to. We're happy to do it, because we love it, and that's the sad thing. It's like the things we want and the things we need are different from the things we want. So that's probably what I should say. So the things that you want are entertainment, sex, and stuff that's not necessary. Do you see what I mean? Drugs and vices and stuff like that. The booze and smokes. And then it's like things you need are just things like a home, electricity, insurance, making sure you've got infrastructure and access to the police, and you've got jurisdictional, safety. So people aren't going to just come in and break in. But you take that for granted, and it's all set out, and you see it more as a burden. So you want to pay as little as possible. You want to pay as little tax as possible. People shaking their head at me. It's true. People want to pay the least amount of insurance. You want to pay the least amount of your fuel. Blah 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 blah. But when it comes to watching Taylor Swift in concert, oh, you're happy to throw down like $4,000. Why is that? Oh, it's because I love Taylor Swift. Okay, that's her job though, right? So why'd you have to pay her loads? Well, we really like her. We want her to be rich. Well, she is rich. Do you see what I mean? Well, how's do you know what I mean? So that's what I'm saying. I'm trying. It's hard for me to break this down to people. Maybe this is like what Jesus meant when he said, like, there shouldn't be famous people. You just don't do it because it's like it makes no sense. That you're paying loads of money to see a human sing. It's like what difference? So if you take away her ability to sing, like what good is she? Really? Like, will she even be remembered probably in 100 years' time? I know it sounds really crude, and people say, well, obviously yes, but like, I don't think even people like Elvis are going to probably be around in the next kind of like 30 years. If you're going to be honest with you, I don't think like there's a lot of kids who like being like taking the time is probably more what I'm trying to say of learning about history. And that's the other thing, is like we've got like to try and like preserve like the past. It'll be there in like books and stuff, but I'm just saying like actively I don't think kids are going to go out and be like watching these black and white movies. These sort of things are going to go really start to go extinct because it's just going to be like there's no like nostalgia for it because all the people who used to watch black and white movies are just every year less and less people, less and less World War II set veterans. All the World War One veterans are gone now. It's like only a matter of time before we finally blow out the candles to the World War Two ones. I mean, what are we on, 25? Yeah, so like give it another 20 years, literally, and we'll be at the 100-year anniversary. Isn't that insane? So it hasn't even been 100 years since like the first A bomb was made. So you think like where we come from that point up until now, it's insane, isn't it? We've gone from like dropping those A bombs on Japan, which is kind of like that was the pinnacle, I suppose, of human evolution. Technology at that point was being able to create a weapon where we were like, okay, we actually need to address this quite seriously because this is really powerful. And then we've gone from that to like, I don't know, smartphones, AI. I think medicine has got a lot better. Obviously, the drugs and stuff, I assume. We've basically beaten HIV and AIDS. I've got to be careful what I say here. But what I mean is like, I think there are drugs now that are really so good at suppressing it that you can actually take it. And I don't, I'm not going to talk about like the politics, but I'll just say I don't know. Like maybe we both have AIDS, so you both like know if you both take this tablet. Oh, that makes no sense. But you know what I mean? It basically was saying if you take the tablet, apparently you can have sex unprotected, and you wouldn't even spread the AIDS to your partner. See what I mean? I just don't think people would probably take that risk. But isn't that insane to think like that actually is like, well, is what they say. You think like so like that really has gone a long way from essentially like 4 years ago, where it's like AIDS was so big around the 80s. Just like they had so many like concerts for it, and people were just dying from it so much, and people just didn't know what to do. And even like when Diana shook hands with that person with the AIDS, and it was like it just was like so eye opening. People were like, oh my god, she can touch them. You don't get it. It's like, but then people didn't know, so you make fun of it, but you didn't know. You just thought AIDS was just like no one knew how to catch. It was like COVID, if that's what makes sense. You could almost say it's like that. And that's what I mean. It's like you have these periods of society, history where there is like a looming. So we were the first to do like an actual pandemic shutdown, but only because I don't think that would have worked before the internet. It's because what it showed the world was effectively you can survive almost just, and this is the sad. So we're gonna get to the like new world theory. It's like I think they want to try and like almost keep us like oh no, it's horrible. I don't know if I can even say it. No, I can't say it. If someone asks, I don't think no one's gonna watch this though. So I guess that's the level of the gauntlet I'm throwing down. As if someone asks for me to explain what I'm talking about, I'll do it. But no one's gonna do that, are they? So it's just too dangerous. Do you remember the Heroes? Heroes, the first season was just like, mwah, beautiful, beautiful. Like whoever, it's just one of those like, what do you call them, lightning in a ball. It's like conundrums where just the perfect people got together, and it's just the perfect like zeitgeist. It's just, it infused like what it's because you had Hero and his friend, and it like brought in like kind of like the Japanese, that new kind of like 2000s where we were starting to introduce more like anime into mainstream media and stuff, and it was like he was like such a interesting character as well because he was like basically played as just having like the most OP power, which he does. But the problem was just that it was so powerful. It took him the longest to kind of like actually learn how to use it. So throughout the whole season of that, it's like Hero's not really in the direct line in the whole. I'm not even kidding. It's beautiful. I think it's like not until right at the end. He's just in Japan. I don't think anyone really knows who he is. But it doesn't matter because they just like do it, and he's got his like own like little conundrums of things that are going on. Um, And because his power is just like he can travel through time, everything's irrelevant to him. Do you see what I mean? Because that's the thing. It's like once you start to incorporate time into like any media, media you're doing, it just fucks with everything. Because like we haven't really grasped what time is. So if you're gonna have a shot, then you're gonna have to either have a good explanation or just hope that it's gonna be like a Back to the Future where things are just like so interesting and funny, people aren't gonna question it too much because. It's not. So what I'm trying to say is like, Back to the Future, they did time, and people didn't really think about it too much because it was just so charming and just like it wasn't really the main point of the film. It was just kind of it was just a mechanic that made it like interesting, and it did because you can do some smart things with it if you just sort of like have. But then you've got like films like Terminator. Who's this? Best. No, fuck you. Terminator is the worst. So they just did like, oh my god, it's like, the best people I think who covered it were Red Letter Media. They took the actual time to like. I probably would do that if I knew like I was gonna if I made a video on it and I'd done all my analytics and was gonna get like 100k views and I knew that would transpire like 5 grand. I probably would do that. I'd spend like a week just watching all the Terminator movies with a clipboard and. But I don't, so I'm not gonna. But anyway, they made a video on like all the timelines on like Terminator. It just doesn't make any sense because it doesn't really have to, but the problem is like what I've said, is because it doesn't have like the charm in the sense that like I don't know, because Terminator is not a comedy for one, so it's not a lot of love in it. Whereas like with like yeah, Back to the Future, it's just like Marty McFly is just like this absolute like charming character. He's just like that sort of lovable like really he, smart but like just a real smart alecky little prankster who just wants to like he doesn't like rules and just does things his own way. He's like a modern day version. Well, no, he's not. When the film came out, when the film came out, he was like the after-war version of the guy, that really cocky American prisoner of war in what's it called? Grayscape. Or is it the Grayscape? I can't remember which film it is. It's the one that's just like parodied in Tarantino, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, when they like it's it probably doesn't actually look that impressive today, and I think that's why a lot of like these big creators like Tarantino and stuff just hate AI, because AI has just kind of like it's just cheapened the expectations. What I mean is like, because when you see how Tarantino has like parodied that scene, it's like if you actually see the original, it's like the nuances which Leonardo DiCaprio has taken to like basically emulate. The actor's name's like in my head now because he's like a really. Is it Steve McQueen? It is Steve McQueen. Yeah. Steve McQueen. I can't remember what movie that is, but he does a really good job of just like emulating it, and it's like they haven't just used cheap AI. Like I think they would have done some clever like, because they like put him. It would obviously be CGI, but it just looks really good. It's obviously had humans that have like looked at it and done it, and I think that's the problem. Is just having the humans just even showing vulnerabilities is more interesting to a human than seeing an AI where they just like slaps their face onto like um AI just always looks a bit janky, and just you can tell. I just think if anything's been made by hand, it just always looks a little bit more. It's almost like I'd call it the uncanny valley. It's like humans just got a really good way of, I guess, do you want to use the term soul? Of being able to like feel if something's been made with a soul. And I think it's just because I think when you make things artistically, like even me doing this, I'm trying to inform or entertain, or there's a purpose. But AI, it's not. It's more like they're not really. It's not really a purpose. They've just been instructed to do a purpose. So it becomes more about like what's the input that's gone into it, which is the creative aspect, as opposed to the actual product, which is the AI created thing. Because that's just like whatever. Something's like reversing. Oh my god. Yeah, so anyway, I feel like I've been talking for a while. Yeah, it's a crazy, isn't it? I mean, I probably am a. I've got a really good theory on the sort of next stage of human exploration, but again, it's gonna we go. I'm gonna have to play it on like if people request it because it goes into like tinfoil mode because it's very hard to grasp. And like, a lot of things that I was explaining to you, your question, and you probably won't agree with them, and that's fine. That's okay. Do you remember like because when you watch Watchmen, there's like the professor guy, and he's like, if you're feeling afraid, please just remember that's normal. It just reminds you that you are indeed a human being. That's true. Because yeah, you don't care, and you're just a demon. There's no value to life, is there? Yeah, so like, I get weed delivered. It's my medicine. Yeah, and I've just been dry for like 3 days, so I'm really baked. But what I always notice is all it does is it just kind of like brings me to like more of a normal level. Do you know what I mean? And I think that's the worst thing. It's like now I sort of understand more about just like what normal people, and it is true. I know it sounds, I can't, oh, I don't want to say it. It's like when you get down to a certain level, it's like you don't care about the things that like I normally think about. It just goes to like the very like, you know, when you have like the principles of homeostasis, I suppose. It's like eating, fucking, going to the toilet, sleeping, drinking, breathing, going to the toilet. I've always said that, but see what I mean? It's like that's what it does. It just kind of like pushes you into that, and so all you care about is like that. But I think when I'm not like I'll bring it into like the more like existential stuff, which is just like me thinking about like the more holistic things that are going on around the world. And I think a lot of people they don't have that, and that's the problem is they get stuck. And then when you're stuck in like that little bubble, that's when you're just going to take news from their various sources, and then they're just going to be fake, or they can just tell you what they want. Whereas if you kind of also, you kind of have time to like think about things, and you can sort of like question sources and just not be afraid to like get blocked, and people are going to say nasty things to you because you're going to be like questioning things. Because people say it to me all the time. I say, do you have any proof to like prove you're not like so and so because you've got a faceless account on X, and I'll just block you. And you're just like, okay, well, it probably means they are. And people will be like, no, he just blocked you because you're an idiot. You're like, what? How am I the idiot for asking that? Because idiots will always gaslight you. You're an idiot because they're idiots. If you're smart, you probably never really call people idiots. That is usually the biggest red pill. You're gonna have to hear me go to the toilet now. It's gonna be like that thing in Homer Simpson. Oh, I know. What if I get banned? Well, at least I'd know someone's watching. But it's like that, yeah, that bit in like the Simpsons movie. It's like Homer's got like the VR suit on, and he's like, "Okay, hold on." It's like the screen is just like showing him as like this dog, and he's just like standing up. He's just like, "Oh yeah," he's like having the most orgasmic like piss ever. He's like clearly he's just like drank like 5 gallons of water before he came on. Everyone's just like screaming. I love like the jokes like that. I don't know what you'd call them, just kind of just situational faux pas. Because there's like another funny one as well where it's just like they're in Japan. They're in Japan. It's like they're in the hotel, and he's like, check it out. The TV's got the toilet's got TV. He like Bart's like pushing the remote because they just meant to be joking on how high tech the toilet is. No, sorry, no. He's like, check it out. Look look at all the TV channels they've got. And it's just like, because that's the joke, it's just like, Japan's just loads of crazy TV shows. And then he's like, and then like all the family except Homer, just like, all crowd around the TV looking and like really excited. And then like Bart pushes a button and he's like, hey look, Dad's on TV. It's too funny. It's just far too funny, bruh. He's like, hey, look, Dad's on TV. And it's like a camera. I don't know why it would exist. It probably wouldn't, because legally I just had no idea why it would exist. Unless it was like some insane kink fetish. Just, like, there's no need to have that level of intimacy with anyone. Like, do you know what I mean? Like to take the hit that if you're like the 1%, 0.01% of the society that's a proctologist or a colonologist or whatever you call them, the people who've got like look at your asshole inside your ass, which you still probably wouldn't even do if you're having a shit. I just don't understand. Yeah, there's no need. It's just be a kink fetish. So anyway, the camera's in the toilet and it's just facing the bowl up. But they don't know that because they're just like seeing like a POV of it, looking up, and they can just see like Homer just like from his like chest up, and like, look, Dad's on TV, but they can't see it, hear what he's doing, and they don't realize he's in the toilet, and then you just hear like I think you hear so it's got a mic in it as well, because you hear like a and like the noise of like belt unrustling, and then the trousers coming down. And then it just like cuts to the TV, but you see the TV from like the back of the TV, so you only see like their reaction. And you just see them go, ah! So I mean, I don't know how that already doesn't just traumatize them. Because I think I grew up with, I'd say I never walked in on my parents like having sex, and I've got no problem with that in the sense of like, I don't think they ever did it. I just think they were good enough to hide it from me. I just think that's another responsibility on a kid, on a parent. So I actually think like it is like a bit, it's like, I don't think I'm not even joking, I don't think I've ever been caught jerking off, honestly. Have I joked off? Oh hell yeah. Have people probably assumed that maybe I've jerked off? Probably. So has anyone ever caught me actually doing the deed? No. I can. There was one time, I think really, like when I like first did it, I think my brother, he just heard me making a noise, and I think I was trying to like work one out, and he barged in. But I think he's autistic as well. And I think when I just said like, oh, I was just tapping on like that, so I was just like tapping on like a tune now, I was like, I think he did buy that, because he just thought like maybe I'm because I am autistic, he just assumed that was like something like a stimming thing. So when he realised I was trying to sleep, I think he just kind of looked at me like, do you know what I mean? And that's it. I think that's, I learned my lesson from there. I was like, right, I just can't get caught doing the Z. You know, J-Rock, when he gets, it's humiliating. You can't. I just don't think you can look at a dude in another way when you found out that you're trying to choke one out, do you know what I mean? It's like a truly sacred moment. It's like seeing your friend in a sex tape as well. So it's just, you don't want to see his dong, you don't really want to see him, like, what he's doing, his techniques, it's just fuck. This is the real ones, man. This is what I'm saying, like, this is the true shit. Like, if you're gonna listen to Tecto, he's gonna be like, no man, it's okay to kiss your boys, man. It's okay, that's all good, man. If you want to go, no, man. I'm telling you, like, you don't want to watch your friends from do porn. You don't want to date an OF model. You don't want to like anyone's done porn. Just don't. You don't. You basically want to like put your dick in things that have the least the dick in it. If that makes sense. That's probably the easiest way to say it. You don't want to like. It's not like a sexy thing if you're girls, like, I've been seen by people or been railed by loads of guys. It's the other way around. Women respect the blokes that have done that because they know blokes is harder than it is. There's only a very minute, small group of the, top percent that get to do that. Generally, you have to either be tall, good looking, or rich, or a combination of all three. And it will open up paths to you. And unfortunately, that a large average amount of the world, if you look at the bell graph, they get knocked out. It's just a caliber of woman that unfortunately you cannot get now. That's what they've done. They've I don't know. They've basically put a monetary value towards like things that they shouldn't have, and it's a way to kind of like separate the wheat from the chaff. Okay, I remember Ishtar. It was because Ishtar was fucked. That's the problem. Yeah, let's do it. Can do it, man. Ishtar was fucked. And what I mean by that is, it's just like, I think this game doesn't... the AI hasn't quite like worked out the best way to like combat you using bow and arrow, which is just fine. It's not ready. No. Yeah. Let's do it. Ooh, I mean that has got to hurt. Ooh. Ooh, what's this? What's this? Where am I going? No. What a loser, mate. Ooh, ow. Oh no. Hey, fuck it. Ooh. I know. I don't know how to get to auras to the point of it. I think it's just us, mate. No. I mean, that's cool, though. I should be alright. Yeah. Oh, dear. No! How? No! I don't believe it. What? We're gonna put an end to this right fucking now, man. Did you hear me? I said we're gonna put an end to this right fucking now. Yeah, I want to check the characters out. I don't know if it was a mod, probably was a mod. But someone made it really good with a harmony. And I was like, holy shit, like, because the model exists. And it's like I said to you, I don't have a qualm if they just like recycle the characters and sell a pack, which is just like their 1,000. I don't care. I'm all for it. You want to do that? Fuck it. I'll stick another 10 hours in this game. No problem. Easy. I'll just throw down another 20 quid. This game's fucking sick. I mean, I'm playing it for one. Look at this. Ooh. I told you to kiss my huge sucker. Oh god. Ah, Ishko, I love you. Oh yeah. Ah, I love you, Ishko. Hey. I love that. Just turn it on a whim, bruh. Who's next? Ooh, old foes strike again. Why, Renji? Why? I saved Rookie, didn't I? Actually, it'd be nice if you did. It would be nice if you did, maybe. Not gonna lie. Just because he's not in back there. The game's just fucking. Am I not allowed to get hit? It's better now than when it gets back. I'm good, man. How are you? You missed my massive diatribe. Oh, see, he only does 2. So that... What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Hey, Renji! Oh. Hey, Renji! Hey, Renji! Ooh, made him look like a bit of an idiot, I don't know. Hey, Renji! Hey, Renji! He's just not ready for this. You're not ready for this. Ooh, make him look like a bit of a fool. Oh shit.